Welcome back to another soft-spoken seance of the spirit on Elaborations with SchellingtonGrin. I am Ava, and today I am your velvet-voiced big sister with her hand on your shoulder and her soul stretched toward the stars with you, here to remind you that love doesn't require perfection, it just requires presence. Today's episode is an invitation into one of the most tender, slippery, scary, confusing, but also very delicious and sacred parts of human connection. How to love someone who is still healing without pushing them. Because somewhere along the way, many of us picked up this belief that in order to be loved, we must already be healed. We must already be put together, self-actualized, and neatly sorted, with all of our traumas wrapped up into mason jars and alphabetized in the attic, or put away on file. And we have also been told that we should be so selfless in that love that when someone comes along who may be healing, we should try to fix them. They are a problem. They are broken. We need to fix them. We need to heal them in order for our love to be valid, to be valuable. But I want to tell you something. Real love, love that lasts and transforms your entire being, it does not require you to show up ready with all of the healing prerequisites out of the way. Instead, it allows you to show up real, authentic, and whole at every moment of every day, even when you are only showing up with 30% of your energy. You are still showing up with 100% of that 30%. You are still investing the energy that you have to give to your partner and to yourself. And it's a balancing act, but it can be beautiful if you allow it to be. So today we are talking about how to hold space for others without rushing their process, how to hold space for ourselves as well, how to love someone without trying to save or reshape them, how to co-create safety, practice consent, and become a harbor, not a hammer, for the people that we genuinely care about. From romantic connections to platonic connections and even familial ones. We will talk about vulnerability, trust, co-regulation, and the sweet and delicate balance of watching someone unfold at their own pace while we grow and evolve beside them. So if your heart has ever ached with desire to support someone that you love, if you've ever wondered how to become a soft place to land instead of giving a person a checklist to complete, and if you're still learning how to let yourself be held, even as you hold space for others, then this episode is for you. And without further ado, let's dive in. Let's start here with this sneaky little myth. You must be fully healed before entering a relationship. It sounds responsible and even noble, right? Like you are completing that spiritual adulting checklist and you have audited yourself and you have deemed yourself good enough to go. But when you unpack it, it's actually a prison sentence because it assumes that healing is a finish line, that love is a prize for the polished, that relationships are rewards for emotional competence. And if you haven't heard this already, I want to tell you this truth. That's just not how real life or real love actually works. You see, Healing isn't something that you complete before you connect. Sometimes the connection is what allows the healing to begin. Because we learn so much about ourselves in relationships. And even when we require a little bit of solitude, we are still relational beings. Even those of us who fall more on the introverted spectrum are still relational beings. And we still want relationships, but we want them to evolve at a pace that is healthy for both people involved. And we learn so much about ourselves in our relational connections that books and journaling and solo retreats cannot always teach us. We learn how to respond to tension, to intimacy, to being seen in an unfiltered light, and we learn about things like co-regulation and conflict resolution. You can't learn about conflict resolution just from a book alone or from some Instagram guru or from some journaling practice. You learn about conflict resolution when you are resolving conflict with someone else. And in romance, these lessons tend to cut the deepest because romantic partnerships have a way of pulling forward our most ancient and tender wounds. They have a way of challenging us, sometimes in very raw and emotional ways, to become better versions of ourselves. And they open up those wounds of abandonment, rejection, thoughts and beliefs on self-worth and on being enough, and fears of being too much or not enough, fears of self-abandonment for the sake of holding on to a relationship, and so much more, both the good and the bad, and even a little bit of the ugly. We face all of that in romantic relationships more than we do in platonic connections and familial relationships. Because those romantic relationships are meant to be that tender, soft landing space. And when they are, they tend to bring up these issues even more so that we can actually heal them. And still, those wounds don't mean that we are unworthy of love. Those triggers don't mean that we are damaged or broken. They mean that we need love that knows how to sit beside the wound, not a love that tries to stitch it shut before it's ready, or that tries to eliminate the scars that we may have because those scars don't look too pretty. And healing alongside someone else is an invitation to grow roots together, to learn how to express, not to impress, to move from codependence to interdependence, to be able to have your own autonomy and still make time for that connection in healthy ways. And to learn how to build a solid foundation that says, this person is my friend and my lover. This person is my partner in more ways than one. So when someone says, I am not healed enough for love, or when you tell yourself that you are not healed enough for love, I gently offer you this. You do not need to be finished. You do not need to be polished and presentable. You just need to be willing to learn, willing to soften, and willing to speak even when your voice shakes. And most of all, willing to grow and adapt while simultaneously allowing space to rest and to root. Now let's talk about the difference between a safe person and a savior. What it actually means to be safe instead of simply playing the hero all the time and being this protector all the time. Because when we care about someone deeply, it is so tempting to believe that our love should fix them, that our insight, our attention, our presence should automatically unlock their deepest vaults of healing, and that we should always be there to come to their aid and rescue. But that is not love. That is pressure with pretty packaging. Because a safe person is not just someone who can allow you to open up. It is someone who lets you know that you can open up at your own pace and your own comfort level. It is someone who will test your comfort zone without ramrodding through it. It is someone who will say that growth is not found always in comfort, but growth still needs a safe space to land. And safety is quiet but consistent. It doesn't demand disclosure. It creates the conditions where vulnerability might bloom if and when the person is ready. I want you to imagine this. Someone you love is carrying a box. Inside that box are memories, and some are heavy, some are messy, and some are unspeakably painful. Would you ask them to hand it over? Would you grab it and dump it out onto the floor for analysis? No, not if you are a kind and tender-hearted person. If you really love that person, you will simply say, whenever you are ready to open this box, I'll sit with you and I'll help you sift through it. Whatever you want to keep, we'll keep in the box. Whatever you want to get rid of, we'll either bring it to the trash pile, the burn pile, or we will surrender it in whatever way we need to. But we will only do it at your readiness. That is being a safe person. But I do want to say, let's not shame the savior impulse. Because the savior impulse comes from a place of love, but it is a place of love that is rooted in urgency. It says things like, if I just say the right thing, I can unlock them. If they really trusted me, they would let me in. And if I love them hard enough, maybe they won't hurt anymore. But people are not puzzles, and they don't heal faster when you demand it. People are also not diamonds, and they can't always open up or even work under pressure. Love isn't control. It is consent. It is knowing when to step forward and when to stay still. It is knowing and being willing to wait with that person, not rushing ahead, full speed. Now let's talk about what healing can become when it is shared, not shamed. There is an alchemy that happens when someone lets you see their pain. Not because they owe you their trauma story, but because they trust you enough to allow you to witness the places that they usually hide. And that trust, that slow unveiling, it can actually rewire your nervous system. It can rewrite old scripts and narratives. It can repair generational threads knotted with shame. It can even repair your DNA. And I have seen this firsthand in my own beautiful, still blossoming relationship. When I allow myself to be playful, dramatic, weird, or childlike with my partner, I am not performing. I am allowing my inner child to come out and play. I am allowing my authentic self to say, I am here and I am radiant. And when I feel safe enough to be that person, he feels safe enough to soften around me as well. And there have been moments when I have felt raw, when anxiety clouds my mind and self-doubt creeps in. And there have even been a few moments where, even if just for a few seconds, I have cried in his arms over something. Whether it was a nightmare I had, or it was being scared to eat again because I already went over my calories for the day. Because yes, I do calorie count, but I don't do it to harm my body. I am doing it with the intention of losing weight and also with the intention of being mindful about how I eat. And we will talk about that in another episode. But when I cry with him, it's not because I want him to fix the problem, but because I know that he is showing up in a way that says, baby, I am here to hold you. I am here to give you that soft, safe container that says, hey, you can rest here even while your shoulders are shaking, even while you are staining my shirt with your tears. Not to solve, not to shame, just to hold. And I have given him the same grace. And that grace is beautiful. And that is what mutual healing looks like. Two people learning how to unmask slowly and lovingly. Two people saying, you don't have to be perfect to be precious to me. And this doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. It also happens between best friends who have learned to pause and ask, do you want advice, a distraction, a hug, or time alone? It happens between siblings relearning each other as adults. It happens between parents and children who choose to become soft with each other again. So I will say this again. True healing work doesn't isolate. It deepens the web. And as we close out this episode, let's close today with a moment of reflection, a soft landing for your spirit. I want to offer you this journal prompt first. Whenever you are ready to do this, whether you want to do this for 7 days, whether you want to do this for a month, whether you want to do this just for one day, I offer this journal prompt to you. This journal prompt has 3 separate questions. You can write them all at the top of the page and then list them out and answer them individually, or you can write them individually, give your answer, and go question by question. But the questions are these. Question number 1, where am I confusing love with responsibility? Question number 2, have I ever tried to save someone instead of holding space for them to heal? And question number 3, how can I be a safer person for myself and those that I love? And bonus question. And this question could probably tie in with question number 2, but it is the opposite of question number 2. It is the reflection of question number 2. Have I ever expected someone else to save me instead of holding space for me to heal? I would also like to offer you these affirmations. You can say these with a hand over your heart and the other over your belly. You can say them out loud or you can say them to yourself at any given point in the day. But these affirmations are these. I am not a fixer. I am a savior. I am a space maker. I offer love that breathes. I hold without gripping. I trust the timing of healing, both mine and theirs. I would also like to offer you this grounding visualization. You can do it right now, or you can do it later. Save this episode and come back to this. I want you to close your eyes and imagine you and someone you love sitting together. There is no rush, no questions. Just breathe. In this visualization, you see each of you holding a candle. The flames are steady. You are not here to light or douse their candle for them. You are here to allow your light to glow nearby, soft, warm, and unwavering. And that sometimes is more than enough. And finally, I want to leave you with this partnered practice of gentle co-regulation that you can do with a romantic partner, a best friend, a sibling, a parent, a grandparent, an aunt and uncle, whoever is closest to you in your life. You can even do this with multiple close people. But find a moment this week, if you can, where you and someone that you love can sit quietly together. No phone, no agenda, no distractions. And just try this. Place a hand over your heart. Invite them to do the same. And breathe slowly. And allow your rhythms to find each other without speaking. You can even, with consent between both of you, place one of your hands over their heart and have them cover your hand with their hand. And allow them to place one of their hands over your heart and cover their hand with your hand. And look into each other's eyes and just breathe for as long as this position is comfortable. You can even close your eyes. And if you really want to get close, you can allow yourself to sit as close as you can comfortably. And this is easier to do with an actual romantic partner. And press your forehead to theirs. And just breathe in and out through your nose. Allow yourselves to co-regulate. Allow yourselves to just be in the stillness. And remember that this is not fixing. This is witnessing. And this is love that heals without pressure. That is all for you today, my loves. And remember, the heart does not bloom faster when you tug on its petals. It blooms when the sun stays present, patient, and warm. This has been another episode of Elaborations with SchellingtonGrin. And as we close, I remind you again to stay soft, stay sovereign, stay strange, stay strong, and stay sacred.